Hello YouTube, this is a very serious video. After 2 years of going to EB Games to pre-order my games and buy games, there have been issues. I have had issues with EB Games. This is not complaining about anything. I am still happy to go to EB Games and purchase games and all that and pre-order, based on the fact that it's basically the only store that actually stocks all the games that release physically, not just select games. But yeah, let's get into the issue I had. Firstly, there's a store in Melbourne that's like an hour away from the Nintendo Australia headquarters, and every time Nintendo has a major release, they always seem to have a midnight launch. Surprisingly, I thought it was because and they have a Nintendo experience upstairs where you can try out Nintendo Switch titles. When I was there last year, it was Wii U and 3DS titles as well. And basically for Pokemon Let's Go and Smash Bros, they're doing a midnight launch. And basically they have for every single Nintendo title, major Nintendo title, due to the fact that they're about an hour away from Nintendo, and at a major EB store in Australia, since they get so much more money. So I went ahead and asked my local EB Games store if they're doing a midnight launch. Sadly, no. So I asked my next nearest store if they're doing a midnight launch, and no. So I asked if any store in my city actually was doing a midnight launch, and they said no. But they will be doing an early opening for Pokemon and Smash. So then I go ahead and proceed to ask around. So I then proceed to go to EB Games, since I know it's not the amount of... I know it's... At this point in time, I thought pre-orders were... midnight launches were based on how many pre-orders the store got. Turns out it's not. That's what I was told in the past, that it was the amount of pre-orders the store got. Sadly, it's not. Secondly, because of that, I went on to create a poll in the Pokemon group for my city, Pokemon Go group in my city, and basically I got people to vote whether they would go or wouldn't, and basically I sent that on to EB Games and EB Games headquarters, and basically they came back and said, sorry, we're still not able to do a midnight launch. The only midnight launches we're doing is Red Dead Redemption 2 and Fallout 76. And because of Fallout 76, they weren't able to do a Pokemon Let's Go midnight launch. So I put that out on Facebook in that poll. And I was like, yeah, fine. Next thing I know, another customer that actually went and pre-ordered the $500 plus. Yeah, $600, sorry. Yeah, it's about $600 she went out and she asked Epic Games if they were doing a midnight launch for the Pokemon. She asked the store, and they said yes, they were on the 25th of September at that stage. So then that customer went on to go out and pre-order the console on the belief that they were doing a midnight launch. If I hadn't have told the customer it wasn't a midnight launch, then there wouldn't have been. Then she would have still been on the belief that there was a midnight launch happening, and she wouldn't have known. So then I get screenshots from her saying that they said they would have a midnight launch. So then I go back and say, you told this customer you had a midnight launch coming. Is that still happening or not? And they go and say, no. Unfortunately, we're not doing a midnight launch anymore because of Fallout 76. And so I go ahead and basically because of this YouTube channel, I wanted to get the game early at midnight so I could play it for you guys. But I'll be playing it on Twitch because YouTube blocked my live streaming capabilities on YouTube at the moment until December. So I go out on so I go on Facebook and message Epic Games Australia's Facebook page about it. And saying that I actually enjoy midnight launches and that it's based on the number of pre-orders that are available. That's what I said it would be. I say I'm a very loyal customer. I only have pre-ordering and buying games at EB. That's true, I have when I've been overseas, except for when I was in Japan, because I don't have a GameStop affiliated store over there, and I only got Pokemon, a few games over in Japan. I got a few games like when I was over in Hawaii. I went to GameStop, and EB Games is owned by GameStop. So basically, I'm not lying. And I've always done that since January 2016. Basically. And I've been a EB World member since December of 2013. Anyway, let's continue on. And they reply saying the Red Dead Redemption 2 is the midnight launch focus. Yet they've already told stores that they're having a Fallout 76 midnight launch. And they told the Melbourne store, that they're doing a midnight launch for Smash and Pokemon. And I put it out on the Facebook page. This is how this all started. And then I said, when do you think you'll have the details available for Pokemon Let's Go midnight launches? And it says generally close to release. In 2 weeks potentially is when we might have more. But this may change. Any updates will be shared through the events page. events.ebgames.com.au. Yet Swenson Street already knew that they were doing midnight launches for Pokemon and Smash. But they wouldn't know until 2 weeks before launch. 2 weeks before launch. Smash Bros. Comes out at this time in about 2 months. So how could they possibly know they're getting a Smash midnight launch? And also, how do I know exactly that they're doing a midnight launch for Pokemon when Pokemon midnight launches have not come out? Simple, because stores know that if they're doing a Fallout 76 midnight launch, they're not doing a Pokemon Let's Go midnight launch. So then again I say, what is the phone number for head office? And I basically called head office and all that. And I'm basically going to say that they've lost me as a customer. Basically, because they decided not to do a midnight launch. And I said, someone who ordered the Pokemon Switch bundle. This is the thing, the Pokemon Switch bundle was pre-ordered by a customer because she thought it was happening. And I said, I have a complaint about a store. So I put in a complaint about the store. I'm not complaining. And basically I said the store used this customer to get a sale out of the store for the Switch. Whoops, this one. Move this one. I basically said that the store used the customer to get a sale out of them by saying they would have a midnight launch. Then come around a week later or so and tell me that they weren't having one. I know it changes, but yeah, that happens. I rang the EB Games customer service line to complain, and they basically said, no, we're not having midnight launches for the game. Lie number for Pokemon. Lie number 1. Swanson Street store is having a midnight launch. The Melbourne store is having a launch. And secondly, they said the customer should have called up head office, the customer service line, to ask before asking the store. And it's like, how bloody rude can you get? So yeah, I put that off and went back to the page, the Facebook page, and said, did I have evidence? And then I said, I'm not complaining about the midnight launch, but the fact she was used to get a pre-order. Like everyone thinks I'm complaining about the midnight launch, not the fact that she was used. So I sent through the customer screenshots that I had. And she also said that she'd go to JB Hi-Fi, one other store that actually does games and movies and TVs and electronics and entertainment. Excuse me. If she knew that EB wasn't doing a midnight launch. And I said, this is an unacceptable practice. It is, basically, because they're promising stuff to customers they would have known nothing about. So they got back to me and said, thanks for your patience with this one. They got the area manager involved. So basically, they checked in with the area manager of the store. And they said the staff member that posted about having a midnight launch has been spoken to about providing information without having complete confirmation. First of all, if you don't have complete confirmation, do not tell people you're having a midnight launch when you have no idea if you are or not. They say the staff members are under the impression the store is planning to have a midnight launch for Pokemon. But they were later updated with information saying that due to Fallout 76 midnight launch, the store would not be having a midnight launch of Pokemon in the same week due to health and safety of the staff, which is totally fine by me. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. I was complaining about the fact that they used their customer for a pre-order. And I said, we apologize for the confusion regarding this one. I mean, that's totally fine, because things change and I understand. The other customer said, the customer that was used, or that I said was used, she visited the store to get a refund, and she got a refund, and she was happy with the service she was provided in rectifying the situation. It then goes on to say, the same person who helped her said that they are 100% getting midnight release for next Pokemon. And he said they already had head office approval for it. Because head office needs to approve if they're doing a midnight launch for a game. They can't just say, oh, we're having a midnight launch like they did for a customer. That is basically using them to get money out of them for a game or a console bundle that might be releasing. And EB Games sends out surveys about your experience when you are buying games and stuff at the store. I went to the store to pick up Lego DC Supervillains last week. And as you know, I've played through it all and finished it. And I got a survey to tell me what my experience was with the store. I basically gave an honest answers to all the questions, like was I acknowledged and all that sort of stuff. And then I do not remember what I put in the actual comments about the store. But somehow the store actually knows my name and all that. And they know me like my face and my name and all that sort of stuff, because I go in there so often to get games. So basically they know who I am. And somehow they worked out that it was me who put in the complaint about Lego DC Supervillains. Sorry, about the store, sorry. And they put it through as one of the store members, not a manager, not an area manager, a staff member of the store that didn't actually serve me on that day, came up to me, confronted me today, and basically said he'd be happy to keep my pre-orders in the store, but he'd also wouldn't mind if I went out to another store to move all my pre-orders somewhere else. He also said that pre-orders are done via head office approval, so the store can't choose which pre-order they're doing. Midnight launches are done via head office approval, so the store can't choose which games they're midnight launching. And I totally get that, because head office needs to decide how much funding they have to provide each store for midnight launches. I just miss having midnight launches because I actually enjoy them. And then he goes on to say, it's not the staff members' fault that we don't have a midnight launch, and it's not the store's fault either, because we can't do it. So he basically wanted my side of the story. So I basically told him about the customer who was on the belief that there was a midnight launch when they pre-ordered, and that they got a refund and all that, and they were happy with how they were served and whatnot. But basically he went on to say, we're happy to keep your pre-orders here, it's just that we can't, or you could go to another store if you wanted, but it's not our choice whether we have a midnight launch or not. And basically after that happened today. Basically after that, I was trying to figure out what I said in the survey, and I can't for the life of me remember what I put in that survey. So basically, I did something good by helping out this customer with her issue and getting it rectified. And secondly, I fixed up an issue within the stores, because they can't just be telling people to have midnight launches without any confirmation that there will be. And thirdly, I get told off for saying that, and I was basically get told off for getting told that for asking for midnight launch. It's not my fault. It's not my fault for the midnight launch thing. It's not the store's fault either. And I wasn't complaining about the store. But anyway. And lastly, the store member that came up to confront me was not the one that served me when I got Lego DC Supervillains. And he's not the store manager, and he's not the area manager. I know the store manager, the area manager, and I know the actual staff members at that store, at my local store. And basically, they do not, or should not, confront customers like that. But I'm not complaining. So I went on to EB Games Australia again, Facebook page, just to ask what's up with their surveys. Are they sent anonymously to the store, or if they're not anonymously sent to the store, who gets access to the results that are sent to the store? They haven't replied yet, so I don't have any information for that yet. And I'm not complaining that there's no midnight launch, because I'll get it preloaded on the Switch when preloads become available, because that's how I did it last year for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because midnight launches weren't happening. But I also picked up the physical copy of the games as well. Because if you have physical games, you can always sell them back to the store and get more money when you trade in a console once the console's finished its lifespan. But anyway, yeah. Sadly, I felt bad for what happened with the staff member. I didn't, because I feel like I gave a bad review because I was in a mood about the midnight launches and how this other customer was treated. But then again, I didn't know what was going on. I was in a mood, and yeah. Basically, I accept the fact that they do not have midnight launches unless they're approved. And basically, the store with the most funding, Swanston Street in Melbourne, will always get Nintendo midnight launches because they're next to near Nintendo, and they're basically the official EB Games Nintendo store in Australia. I just gotta accept the fact that I live in a fucking almost rural metro town of Australia. It's rural, but it's also metro in a sense. It's not a capital city. Actually, it's the unofficial capital city of North Queensland, but it is not technically a capital city. It's a rural city. So basically, we'll never ever get a midnight launch for Pokemon again. I'm not saying never, but chances of another pop-up midnight launch for Nintendo products is slim, because we haven't had any this year. And secondly, very slim chance that next year we'll have a Pokemon midnight launch after this year and last year not having midnight launches. So sadly, all I can say is that I've had a bad experience with EB Games, with how they dealt with the situation that arose, and they made me feel bad, but I actually did something good, so technically I'm not at fault, and technically the stores are not at fault either, except for the one that I complained to that had the issue by misleading a customer. But other than that, there was no issue with the stores and or any staff members involved in the issue. And I'd like to put out a big apology to EB Games Australia and any of the stores involved, if they're watching, that I am sorry for basically spamming you guys about the Pokemon Let's Go midnight launch in my city not happening, and the fact that you guys felt that everything I was doing was for the midnight launch instead of the actual fact that the customer was used, and I was actually commenting on that issue rather than the midnight launch. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be the Doctor's Archives, episode 4, series 11, episode 4, Arachnids in the UK, and then Lego Harry Potter collection on the Switch on Wednesday next week. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.